So hey, welcome back to the channel. So today I thought I'd jump on the bandwagon that everyone else is on and do the political compass test. Now, to be fair, I actually already took this a few months ago, and I was as vanilla could be. But however, which was surprising, a little bit surprising. Actually, it's more disturbing now. So when I was answering the questions, I noticed that they're very loaded, and I think this test is very left leaning. Um, so, and we'll get into each question, but so let's get into this and let's see if I end up the same place because I've really thought about some of the questions and how kind of messed up they are. But anyways, let's get into it. Yeah, okay, there we go. All right, blah 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 blah. Oh wait. Okay, yeah, let's read this real quick. That's they're not questions. These aren't questions. They're propositions. To question logic of individual ones that irritate you to miss the point. Oh yeah. Some probably are extreme. Some are moderate. Okay, I see that. Towards extremism or moderation on the compass. Okay, that actually makes me feel a little better. I didn't read that last time. Your responses should not be overthought. Okay. Some of them are intentionally vague. You're triggering. Oh yeah, that makes me feel a little better. Okay. So if economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of the transnational corporations. First of all, you're assuming that it's inevitable, so okay, you're pushing us that way. But then this is where I have the problem. It should primarily serve humanity. So everything should serve humanity, no matter what it is. Either yourself or your family or others. The question is here, transnational corporations. So I'm not a big fan of transnational corporations. But the question is, do they serve humanity or do they serve themselves? But do they serve themselves so they do serve humanity? It's like you can't be broke and help other broke people. So it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. So I kind of agree. So, yeah. I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. I disagree. I think we've done some things in my country in the past, which I don't agree with. Then I would, if it happened today, I'd fight against that. But so I don't agree. You don't have to agree with everything to support it. So no one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Going back to that last question, that is true. So you have to be proud of it. If you don't like it, you move or you change it. So, but to say I'm not proud of it, so it's like kind of like your family. You don't choose the family you're born into, but you could be that hinge pin that makes it something you're proud of. So I disagree. Actually, I'm going to strongly disagree on that one, which is going to get a little off my where I want to go. But our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. That is a messed up question. Now, I think that's just racist. That is the definition of racism. But if you're talking about a country, that does not work in the United States of America because we're not a race. And we are probably the most diverse melting pot in the world. I know Canada and some other places have very big melting pots too, but it's like we're not a race, and I don't like that question. If you could say our culture has many superior qualities, I feel like the American culture has some very good qualities as far as freedom-loving stuff compared with other cultures. But then again, we're a melting pot, so that's kind of where I strongly disagree with that statement more than anything. Okay, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I actually disagree with that because I think your enemy of your enemy is still your enemy. That doesn't mean you can't work with your enemy. They're still your enemy. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I actually strongly agree with that. Because what if the ones making the law are the ones that need the military action? So, yeah, let's not get into the UN thing. So, anyways, There's now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. I somewhat agree. And the reason why I agree is because the news has to be fantastic. It has to be, information is entertainment. So, but if they're saying like news is entertainment, that's where I agree. But again, I don't know if it's worrying. Just there is a fusion though, because if you're not going to watch it if it's boring. So, okay, next page. Here we go. Okay, economy. People are ultimately more divided by class than by nationality. I strongly agree with that. Sadly, let's go back to that one information and stuff they make. That's the true division is class, and it's sad. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. It's a tough one. So I have a problem with controlling unemployment. But again, I also have a problem with controlling inflation. You can't necessarily control inflation. You can keep it from going hyper inflation, but you can't have stagflation. Because if you have stagflation, you're going to have hyperinflation. So, and hyperinflation is bad because then unemployment's bad. Nobody's investing. Nobody's, businesses go out of business. So I agree that controlling inflation is more important because you can't. I just have a real problem with controlling unemployment. You've got to let the businesses be there because we can't all work for the government, and we shouldn't because Then what's the point of the government? All right. Well, then you have communism. So because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. I strongly disagree with this. Let me tell you why I strongly disagree. The larger the corporation, the scarier it gets. But governments are just as bad at destroying the environment because they allow things. Let's go to Ghana right now. Ghana's a mess. Okay, Ghana is a sad EPA environmental mess. And that's not only because of corporations, that's also because of the government of Ghana. So again, you're into that regulation thing, and I don't always think that solves it. So you have to allow the people to say, hey, that's not right. Let's not do that. If you think that, go look at Ghana. Ghana is being destroyed right now. Go back. I want to kind of change that to disagree. I'm going to go to disagree on that one, just because okay. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is fundamentally good idea. I only agree with the part to each according to his need. Each according to his ability. Everyone has different abilities. So what if I'm better at making food, at growing food, but you're better at poems? Do you eat your poems? So it's like we all have to work together. We all have different abilities. So I kind of disagree with that statement. The freer the market, the freer the people. I strongly agree. If you don't like something, then you have options to go somewhere else. So, and I think the regulation regulates the other options out before it regulates the big ones out. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled branded consumer product. I don't agree that that's a sad reflection. I think that's a good reflection that somebody is willing to buy drinking water that you put on a thing. Just a side note. Did you know that Evian water spelled backwards is naive? So just a little bit of information for you. So I think it's actually a good reflection that somebody is putting a product together. It doesn't take away that you have running water. So I disagree with that one. Actually, I'm going to strongly disagree because I think it's actually a good thing. Okay, land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I strongly disagree with that. Let me tell you why. The framers of the Constitution originally had property in there, life, liberty, and property. But seeing the problem that could have caused, knowing that slavery was going to come up to get, they felt they didn't like slavery and they wanted to get rid of it. They knew that if they put property, there would be some conflict there because they'd say, oh well, we have our right to our slaves. But I think they were thinking right, and the reason they were thinking is, if you have property, you have something physical of value that you have. You always have your labor, you always have your mind, but land is that concrete, physical. It's a physical manifestation of your freedom. So, because if you have land, you can produce food, you can do all those other things, and of course, there's still disparity in that, and also it comes down to some people have different values and different goals. So. Some people want lots of land, and they do everything they can to get all the land they can. And so, but I think it needs to be a commodity and not, and yeah, I think it's important. I think that's important to freedom, is that it is a commodity. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. I actually agree with that. But well, I agree with that, because it's regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money. Now, I'm just going to agree with that, because it's sad. What they're saying is it's regrettable that personal fortune made by people who manipulate money. Yes, George Soros is one of those. That's exactly what he does. Is he manipulates currencies, or he invests in currencies and then manipulates the economy for his direction. That's I don't remember what they call it. China's done it. There's a lot of places that do that. Hedging currency. And then if you're doing that through another country that doesn't affect you economically in that sense, or physically, that's really a problem, because you're contributing nothing to their society. So I agree that it's regrettable, but I don't strongly disagree. I don't strongly agree, because there's some people that do it by doing that, in a sense, but they do contribute to society. So I don't know. That might be a weird way to say it, but okay. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. I don't actually know totally what protectionism is. What is protectionism? I don't remember. I think I looked this up last time. See how slow my thing is? Protectionism, economic policy restricting imports from other countries through measures. Oh, okay. So, okay, I know what this is now. Yes, I actually strongly agree. China. Some countries can have an unfair advantage in many things, but I think it affects more people if you don't protect it. Okay, the only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholder. Again, I would say neutral on this one, but I agree. It's not a social responsibility. If you were a shareholder in a company, you wouldn't want somebody. You want to get paid for your investment, so you don't want them going and looking at the polls and let's see what the poll says. Oh, you only get half of what we think. That's the whole point of the company, is to do that. So especially if you're an employee. I mean, they use the word shareholder, but an employee is also a shareholder. So in the definition of being invested into something, you just usually get your investment back at weekly, biweekly, monthly. So the rich are too highly taxed. Again, neutral. I kind of agree, disagree. The amount that the taxes come from rich people is not. We don't get out what we think we get out of it. We actually get more from businesses paying their taxes, and sales tax. Sales tax is the biggest thing we get, but I think if you just make higher taxes, it just makes more loopholes. So, yeah. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. I kind of agree with this one. This is a sad reality, though. It's like a doctor. If you went to school for 7 years and became a doctor, you automatically have access to higher standards of medical care for your family, at least, because you could do it if you needed to. So, again, it kind of comes into the charity thing too. You gotta, it's a tough one, but I think, I think that's true. But you shouldn't be leaving people out on the street, Okay. So government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. I actually strongly disagree because I think that their business model will fail if they mislead the public and continue to mislead the public. So I'm going to strongly disagree with that one. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. If it's got restrictions, it's not a genuine free market. So, and then it kind of goes clear back to the protectionism. So, but I also, I agree. I agree that there needs to be, but because I'm not totally full open. There needs to be controls and things in place because monopolies are bad. That's where things get really hairy with monopolies. So, multinational monopolies are even worse. So, predator multinational is funny. Next page. All right. So, personal social values. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. I'm going to say disagree. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We believe that abortion is okay in incest, rape, and when the woman's life is threatened. We also don't judge that there's situation. Every situation is different. Okay, so I have a problem with the people that celebrate abortions and marginalize the life of the baby. And abortion is more of an issue of respect for human life than it is a legality or even a religious issue. I believe that abortion should just happen when all things are considered, but not as convenience. I mean, you conveniently had sex, so why? So, but again, to restrict it just makes it worse. So, but I think it comes more down to educating people on the facts of abortion. And I mean, it should mess you up. It should be a hard decision, and it's sad that a lot of women, it's like another day at the office. So anyways, that's just my take on abortion. Okay, all authority should be questioned. I agree. An eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. I disagree. I disagree with that. We're better than that. Okay. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. I disagree. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I agree. I agree that again, it's all about that forced thing. The stronger you tighten your grip, the more systems will slip through your fingers. So you've got to make people want to do it. All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. Oh, strongly disagree with that. That is a racist question. That is a bad one right there. That's so bigoted. But it's for yeah. I don't even get in that one. That one's crazy. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. I disagree. I'm not a perfect parent. No, I disagree. I think there are options. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I agree. You need to be able to do that. It's part of the learning process. It is natural. We naturally do that when we're fearful or whatnot. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. I agree. I think the war on drugs has caused more problems than it's ever solved. I personally feel that we could start phasing out the war on drugs and cartels super rich and powerful, and I mean, if you really want to get down to things we've done, I think the war on drugs has caused more problems for Mexico and South America than any corruption, because that's caused the corruption, I believe. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. Yeah, I guess of what that's saying. Oh gosh, this is a neutral one again, because schooling should be to teach you the tools. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. I strongly disagree with that. You are, again, going back to the abortion thing, you are not respecting that life, the future value that life has. And same thing with inherent disabilities. That person has value, and it's up to us to find that value and them to show that value. So, yeah, they should be allowed 100%. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's not the most important thing, but they need to be able to accept discipline, because that's why we have Antifa. Yeah. Sorry, the Antifa ideology. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Sure. That's a weird one. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. I strongly agree with that. If you are able and you refuse, no, that just destroys society. When you're troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more children. I agree. I totally agree. Actually, I strongly agree with that, because I think that it's you're not ignoring it, but you're moving in the right direction. First generation immigrants can be fully integrated within their new country. I agree. It takes work. It does. It does take work. I lived in France for 2 years, so I mean, I wasn't there as a full-grown immigrant, but I understand that the culture difference and whatnot. But I think you can do it, and I know people that have done it. So, and some are really hard, but what's good for the most successful corporation is always ultimately good for all of us. I disagree, but I agree. If they are successful and people are buying their product, if it's not a monopoly, then that means that whatever they're doing is good and is acceptable. So, yeah, as long as it's not in a monopoly situation. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. I agree, because then it's kind of neutral, because I know Mr. Rogers argued against this, and I totally trust that guy. But I also think that when you're talking news, I mean, if you could get away from certain biases, I mean, look at Sesame Street. God, that is no longer a good show anymore. It's so sad how woke it's become. All right. Page 4. Our civil liberties, I'm sorry this is going so long. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Yes, I strongly agree. Yeah, I don't like the Patriot Act is not good. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. If you only have one party, yeah. I mean, we have two-party, which is better, but I wish we had three-party. But again, I agree. Now, if you're talking communism, yeah, I'm going to say strongly agree. Let's just remember that the CCP is the same party that existed with Mao, that is responsible for low estimates 40 million people dead, high estimates 150 million people dead. That's the one party state. So, and they're still here today. So let's just remember that. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. I strongly disagree with that. That is a scary thing. Death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. I agree. I feel really bad for the executioners, and I also feel bad for the family of the victim. But I think it's a necessary part of our society. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people above to be commanded, and people below to be commanded. I strongly disagree. If you are civilized, in our definition, I believe, you do not have that. Now, I'm going to say disagree. You could also have, in a work environment, somebody needs to be in charge. Then when you say to be commanded, you're making it sound like slave labor here. So it's like you do have to have people in charge. I mean, otherwise you have chaos because otherwise it's not civilized anymore. So, but abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. I disagree, which is funny because I used to think I don't like contemporary art. Modern art is weird, but I also understand that who's making that art has it's their expression. So I don't like it. I think a lot of it looks stupid, but the fact that it's not art, I think that's preposterous because just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not art. And as long as it's not illegal, okay, Cuties movie, okay. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. I strongly disagree with that. If you are not rehabilitating someone, then your justice system is pointless. It's a waste of time to try and rehabilitate some criminals. I disagree, but I kind of want to agree, but I disagree. Like Jeffrey Dahmer. The other guys, Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy. These guys have serious problems. But I think you need to at least try. And there's some that are hard, and I know but we got to try. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Why can't the business person be the writer and the artist? Isn't the artist the manufacturer? I mean, I guess we're kind of getting into like music stuff here, but I disagree because one without the other, chicken and egg thing. So mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. I'm going to piss off a lot of people. I strongly agree with that. And it's not a say on mothers. It's a say on the family. And their first duty is not really to be a homemaker. It's to be a mother. And as a father, my first duty is to be a father, not a career man. It's the value that you see. It's sad society now that we if there's not a paycheck, it's not worth this much. It's not worth the same. I have a hard time with that. It's sad. I think a lot of people that have this thought that if you're a homemaker, you're worth less. I think those people came from broken homes or didn't have a good childhood. Making a blanket statement, but multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I kind of disagree. I kind of agree because I know that Dow and Monsanto's doing some crap. I'm gonna agree with that because I know. I kind of disagree with that one. There's way more problems than just that. There really is. There are bigger problems than that. So, making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. No. That's weird. Making peace with the establishment? Like the lame farts in Washington that have done nothing for years makes me mature? No. That's I don't know. I think standing up for yourself is more mature than kowtowing to some Washington bureaucrats. That's weird. That is a weird question. Astrology accurately explains many things. No, I disagree. It explains nothing. You cannot be moral without being religious. I disagree, but I don't strongly disagree. You can be moral without religion, but it's harder if you don't have something to anchor you. That makes sense? And it doesn't mean you can't be. I just say you get into some more fine details of society, and you might be more willing to sway around. So, charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. I totally 100% agree with that. Totally 100% agree. I'm not even going to go into that. Some people are naturally unlucky. I think that's a stupid statement. I'm going to say agree, but no. I'm going to disagree. The reason why, luck has nothing to do with a lot of things. There is coincidence, but if you're unlucky on the crap tables, stop playing the crap tables. Okay? Stop gambling. So, but you can also be a product of your circumstance. So, I mean, but to be naturally unlucky, it's weird. Go back to astrology. It's kind of the same thing. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. I disagree. It shouldn't be the school's job to do that. They shouldn't be pushing it out, but they shouldn't be letting in other things. I almost strongly disagree, because I think I have no problem with religious schools and that, but a public school shouldn't be one or the other, but they shouldn't be pushing it out. So I guess it's kind of a neutral statement. For me, sex outside marriage is usually immoral. I agree. Actually, I strongly agree. I believe it is. I don't care if it's same sex or not, and we'll get into this later. But sex outside marriage is usually immoral. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. I agree. I agree. There are especially fostering and orphanages. Holy crap! There are so many kids that want a home. I don't care what your sway. Those kids need a home, and a good stable home is usually what they didn't come from. So, pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Sadly, I agree with that. It should be legal for the adult population. I think pornography is bad. I think it causes more problems. But again, I think it's already a problem. I think if you make it illegal, you're going to have even more problems. So look at that. We have child porn is illegal, but yet it is rampant. So you make it illegal. And that doesn't don't make child porn legal. I'm saying just this. I'm just being torn on that. If you make things illegal, it's worse. So again, go back. Teach people respect. Teach your kids respect, and then these things go away. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree. No one can feel naturally homosexual. I disagree with that. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. I agree. It's a pendulum thing. I think we've gone too far, but it kind of was necessary for that. That's a loose agree. Oh, here's where I am. Okay, here we go. Where am I? Oh! Wow, this is totally different from before. I was right here, right in the middle, like, and just barely down. Now I'm right libertarian. Huh. Wonder what changed. I mean, I thought I'd be a little more right. That's crazy. Wow, I changed. I thought I was much more. I think it was. I don't know what it was. I know the libertarian part sounds right, but I thought I was much more centrist. I'm shocked. I thought I was much more centrist, but I did. I told you I did. I think I changed some of my things after really thinking about them. So maybe I don't. So that's my thing. I'm a right-leaning libertarian apparently. So, oh, economic right. That makes sense. I'm very economically conservative, but I am and a social libertarian. I like that. I don't want to be authoritarian because I know this is communism up here. So, so yeah, thanks for watching. Hit the like, subscribe. Sorry this was so long. This is a lot of questions. I know some people did it faster, but I'll see you on the next video.